Back with you, Facebook Live. Here is the number. This is almost like going back to 1950s radio and television that you actually hold this up in front of the camera. 202-909-1492. Now, I didn't plan on this. It's just kind of worked out this way. It's just easier to do it this way. 202-909-1492. Good to be with you on this Monday. Lots of news out there. We have a correspondent in Seoul, South Korea. Simone Del Rosario is going to join me on the news tonight, talking about the latest developments over there. The president has made some very interesting news in the last 24 hours. He has made comments about Kim Jong-un that no other president has ever made, recognizing him as, quote, a smart cookie for being able to get the power that he's got and maintain it when other people have wanted him out. He goes on to say that he would be willing to meet with Kim Jong-un if the conditions were right. Sean Spicer talked about this at the press briefing today. Here's the bottom line as I see it. The president is in position to do a military strike against this rogue state. Even John McCain is starting to sound like a peacemaker at this point. Everybody is realizing the nuclear capability this guy has. He could wipe out Seoul, South Korea. He could take hundreds of thousands of American lives. And the fact of the matter is we're not ready to go there yet because all of the players in the region aren't on board completely. That it's going to have to be a totally diplomatic, exhaustive effort before we're going to get to that point. And there's no doubt that the Carl Vinson can sit off the shores of North Korea for months on end. So what's happening here? And this is a story that got no attention last week when Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State, said that regime change is not what the United States is interested in. It was almost as if they're trying to lower the temperature between the two countries. Look, I don't know what's going to become of this, but the fact is the president seems to me, if he's winging it, he's walking right into possibly a diplomatic opening here by, number one, saying he's a smart cookie, number two, saying that he'd be willing to meet with him if the circumstances were right. Bush never did this. Obama never did this. Clinton never did this. I mean, you go back a long, long way. This North Korea has been the bad dudes on the planet, and here's Trump trying to possibly give them a diplomatic opening. You may have some thoughts on that. I guess I'd rather have that than be nuked in Seattle or Portland. I got friends out there, or Japan for that matter, or the elimination of Seoul, South Korea. And for all of you folks out there who think that Trump is totally stupid, look, no, this is the right thing to do. Give the guy an olive branch and see how he reacts to it. Because if the North Korean leader rejects this type of just overtures, then we really know it's going to be easier to get more people on board that the guy is a total frickin' nut. You can't communicate with him. 202-909-1492. Let's do it. You're on with Ed Schultz on Facebook Live. Turn your radio down, turn your phone down, and have at it. Good to have you with us. Go ahead, you're on. You're talking to Ed.
Well, they're going. Let's try the next one.
Okay, we'll do the next one. Here we go. Hello, you're on with Ed. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Ed. This is Maya Rodriguez calling from Massachusetts.
Yes.
Ed, I'm very concerned about what's going on with the suppression of votes, and we here in the Berkshires area are very committed to trying to change the way we get to vote, and hopefully we can do some legislative changes so that every vote counts.
Well, tell me what you're doing.
Well, we've been studying about how the many different ways that votes are suppressed, especially in Black and Latino communities. So we're watching films, and we're also phone banking. We're also talking to people and talking to students, more importantly, because we have to get young people involved.
I got a suggestion. I have a suggestion. You know how you do this? Here's how you do this. You get as many people as you possibly can to get organized, and then take a section of town and go door to door, and don't stop going door to door until you get people registered and you physically take them to get registered. And then you physically take them to vote. That is the most surefire way to beat voter suppression. You could pass all the laws. You could pass all the laws in the world, but until you have hand-to-hand combat on voting and getting people involved by physically working with them to do what they have to do to be able to vote, and then making sure they vote. Listen, I can take you back to the days in South Dakota when Tom Daschle used to have his team go pick up people on the reservation and actually drive them to the polls to have them vote. And that's how you win in rural America. That's how the Democrats are going to be able to get rural America through, not just in the urban areas. Okay, I'm talking a lot. You go ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. And I think also there should be a way to get young people registered as they get their licenses and things of that nature.
Republicans aren't going to go along with that. Anything easy.
Well, of course, they're not going to. Absolutely, they're not going to go along with anything yet because they know that these are the folks that vote normally for Democratic candidates.
Okay.
But listen, we're going to resist, and we are going to keep on working. And I just want to say that I love you, and we miss you on TV. And keep on fighting for us, and we're going to keep on fighting for our Constitution.
It's just so nice to be loved. Thank you. I appreciate it. 202-909-1492. Hello, you're on Facebook Live with Ed Schultz. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Ed. How are you? This is Jimmy from Arkansas.
Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing good. What I wanted to say about the Affordable Care Act when the Republicans are thinking about trying to overturn it and maybe replace it. When the Democrats passed it, I think they knew that they were going to lose their jobs when they passed this thing because it was so unpopular with the other side, but they did it because it was the right thing to do. And I don't think the Republicans have enough courage like the Democrats did, and they don't want to lose their jobs because they know they will if they overturn it.
Let me tell you the latest volley going back and forth, and the president's trying to talk himself through this. He says that the pre-existing condition is going to be in the bills. That's not the signal that's coming from Capitol Hill, that they may throw it to the states that will be able to opt out and craft some type of health care coverage where pre-existing conditions, number one, are excluded, or they're only accepted if the person with the pre-existing conditions buying the premium is paying a high premium and buying the policy paying a high premium. This is a bad deal. And if Trump doesn't hold the firewall on this, this will destroy the health care bill, and it will motivate a lot of Americans to protest and go vote against the Republican ticket. The president said all along that the pre-existing condition was going to stay in any health care reform, and now there's talk that it won't happen. If this isn't the insurance company driving the ship, I don't know what is. This is really scary stuff. There's millions of Americans that have pre-existing conditions that, number one, may be excluded again, going back to the old system, or may be in a position where they're not going to be able to afford the coverage. So that's where we are.
Definitely.
All right.
Well,
thanks, thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate your call. The number here, Ed Schultz, Facebook Live, 202-909-1492. So those are in, oh, by the way, it's May Day. We honor labor across the world today. We're like one of the only countries that doesn't pay much attention to this. We have our Labor Day, but May Day, of course, is a very socialist thing, and it honors labor in many countries throughout the world, and there are protests in many cities in America. We'll have that tonight on the news as well. So, with that, what else is there to talk about?
There's a spending bill coming down the line. They're
not yes! Oh, there's no funding for the wall, excuse me.
Yeah.
But the president obviously is calling this a big victory because he's getting a big boost in the military budget. And he's also going to try to pay for infrastructure, possibly with a gas tax. That's not in it, but they're talking about it. Back to the phones. You're on Ed Schultz, Facebook Live. Thanks for calling. Hello, go ahead.
Hey, is that you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was kind of late getting in here, but I see you talking. Give me a minute.
I don't have a minute. You got to get ready to go. Thank you. Appreciate your call. I'm sorry, folks. I'm only going to do this if you got your shit together. If you don't have your shit together, I ain't got time for you. It's 202-909-1492. Don't make me work too hard. We're just talking about the news and having a little bit of fun. And as you were saying.
Well, we were talking about spending bills. That's where we were on, on the day. I mean, is it a big deal that Trump's not going to force the wall talk? I mean, that was his biggest campaign promise.
What does this tell you? This might signal that it really wasn't that big a deal to him all along, but when it comes to the immigration problem in America as he perceives it, it's mission accomplished that those people came out and voted for him. That was the number one thing. That was used to motivate people to vote for Trump. Now, the fact that he didn't get it, well, he's a business guy. He's in negotiation. What did he get? Democrats got to be happy. Planned Parenthood is still going to have the funding. Conservatives can't be too happy about that. There's a number of things that the president did not get in it, but the main thing he got was border security at a record level of resources now is going to be going to the border. And I'm talking about equipment and manpower and intelligent resources to the border. So, I mean, look, you win a few, you lose a few. I think the Democrats have to be really pretty optimistic about the fact that, number one, there's not going to be the wall because they don't want to send that message to Mexico. And number two, there's not any money for an expedition force or eradicating force to take illegal workers out of this country and ship them out. And what else? And Planned Parenthood is getting funded. So there's a little bit in there for everybody. You'll notice in the news today that Chuck Schumer is not out and the Democrats aren't out, whooping ass on the president because of this. They must be somewhat happy that they got a victory in all of this. And the number is 202-909-1492. You're on Facebook Live with Ed Schultz. Hello.
Ed.
Hey.
Did you hear about the coal miners getting the benefits of the budget plan?
Thank you for bringing that up. The coal miners were on the verge of losing their retirement. It wasn't going to be funded because of bankruptcies of the companies. It was thrown off from the federal government. The Trump administration, the president had not talked about this or mentioned it, but this too is in this spending package, and this is good news. Democrats got to feel good about that. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it just confirms all the people that voted for Trump in coal country are just, they're going to double down. I mean, he's just working on appeasement more than anything.
What do you mean?
Anything to build political capital, because he's been losing it the past, 100 days, gradually. The ratings aren't there.
Yeah. Well, look, we're talking about 20,000 Americans who are not going to be put out on the street, who live on a fixed income.
And they were given promises that they would have, benefits for life, and
well, they're going to get them now.
Jerked around.
They're going to get them now, and
they kept jerking them around until they put something in there because people were ready to tell about it.
Well, look, the Republicans don't want to do much to spend any money on anybody, and so I think this is a big victory for progressives. I think it's a big victory for American families, and I'm glad President Trump went along with this. It was a human thing to do. I don't think I think it was clearly the right thing to do. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 202-909-1492. Caller, you're with us on Ed Schultz Facebook Live. Hello.
I want to know, what do you think of the latest health care proposals? I know you talked about that in your broadcast during the campaign.
Well, I think it's pretty dangerous right now, the rhetoric that's being tossed around. I don't think that Trump wants to go 0 for 2 on health care. He's going to disappoint a lot of Americans if the pre-existing condition is taken out. Some of the comments that have been made lead me to believe that that's what the Republicans are pushing, and that's what they're trying to sneak through. And millions of Americans are going to be affected if that's the case. So the way they're going to appease these Americans is that if you have a pre-existing condition, you may be able to get insurance, but your premium is going to be so expensive you're not going to be able to afford it. And people who have got diseases like cancer, that clearly is in our family. I mean, this is pretty nerve-wracking stuff. And it was the law under Obamacare that you could not drop people. And we have not gotten the complete clarification from the Republicans on where they stand on all of this. So we're in a kind of a nervous time right now in negotiation. They say that it may pass the House before the end of the week. It's got to go to Conference Committee. It's got to go to the Senate. And I would hope that there'd be enough minds left in the Senate that they wouldn't allow this to go through. Okay? Thank you. 202-909-1492. You asked me what I think, I'm going to tell you.
Well, and I would say, over the weekend we hit 100 days of the Trump presidency, and instead of going to the big White House Correspondents' dinner, which I'm not really sure the American people care about, but instead of going there, Trump was in Pennsylvania riling up.
Can I just tell you something? I've been to the White House Correspondents' dinners in the past, and they're kind of fun. The first year, really fun. Second year, kind of fun. Third year, okay, it's job time. Fourth year, it's a pain in the ass. Okay, that's how the White House Correspondents' dinners go over the years. Okay, and it's fun to be around for a while, but this one was bullshit. And there's really, it became very Hollywood under Obama. And I think Trump is in such a battle right now with the way his campaign was treated, the way he's at odds with the media, the way he's calling them out on stories that are unsubstantiated and the networks are running them. It's pissed him off. And so he doesn't want to go. He may not go to the next one. He may never go to any of them. And I don't think the American people will sit at home and watch that shit. I don't know what the ratings are on it, but I just don't think they do. 202-909-1492. You're on Facebook Live with Ed Schultz. Hello.
Hi, Ed. My name is Mike. I'm from New York, Niagara Falls, New York. Just wanted to talk about the student loan, student debt issue in this country. And so far there's no bill, but I'm from a group, studentloanjustice.org, and we've been pushing to restore bankruptcy protections to private and federal student loans that have been removed. The debt's $1.5 trillion and climbing, and we're waiting for Trump to really, shed some light on this. DeVos recently took away some protections that Obama had put in place, and to make it easier for students to pay. And this administration is showing that they're more swamped than anything when it comes to this. Just wanted to get your thoughts.
I want to get you on my show. I want. What's the name?
Okay.
What's the name of your organization again, sir?
I can give you that if you want. Student Loan Justice. Our founder, Alan Collins, is actually in Washington quite a bit. I believe he's been in upstate New York the last few days. That we're actually doing a documentary that hopefully will be coming out.
Okay, I want to get you.
Yeah.
I want to get you on RT America. I want to get this on, and I would love to do the story.
Absolutely.
I think it's this is where a light has to be put on the next generation. And we got to understand what we're doing to the next generation by loading them up with a bunch of debt on their back and robbing them of the dream of the American home, a nice vehicle, retirement, all that kind of stuff. This really was at the core of the Sanders campaign, and to his credit and to Hillary Clinton's credit, she moved on this issue. Trump has not. Well, Trump hadn't said anything about it.
And quite honestly, Ed, the free college is nice, but there's been no talk of how you're going to, relieve those who are currently in debt and struggling. I mean, there's 44 million borrowers out there and 28 million, that's 66%, who aren't making payments. They're either in default, deferment, or in delinquent status.
66% of those students?
66%, yes.
They're not making payments?
Correct.
Wow.
They're either in deferment, delinquent, or in default. And last year alone, defaults went up by roughly 60% last year, if I had my numbers correct. They went from about 400,000 in 2015 Last year, they increased to 1 million defaults.
Okay. You know how to get a hold of my producer, Brent Jabor? You go to my web.
I do not, but I can take the number.
Okay.
Just tell me to hold on. We'll get
Just hang on, and we'll get the information from you. But I really want to do this story, and
absolutely.
I think it needs to be done. I appreciate it. Hang on, and we'll get to you. You know, on that, it's a good note to end, isn't it? On a Monday? I mean, I played 99 holes of golf this weekend. I'm a little sore right now. I couldn't play today. I'm gonna play probably later this week, but doggone it, I played a lot of golf. Bart Chilton and I, you see him on RT. We were on a scramble over at the club there, and let's see, we were 8 under par with strokes. We got to 15 under and finished 4th in the net division. I was kind of fired up about that. All right, folks, thanks for joining us. Ed Schultz, Facebook Live. We are back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here. Thanks for listening and watching.